Hey there. So, in my last video, I talked about just some things could you relate to. Well, the intention for the video was to talk about the first steps to healing, which I named as being able to actually feel your symptoms and know what symptoms are not normal, right? So how we've normalized. I went into some stories about like how we've normalized things that actually shouldn't be normal. And so like really having a handle on like what our symptoms actually are that shouldn't be there, right? And then kind of figuring out like what's my priority? Like what's my intention, for healing? Where do I go first? Because it can feel really overwhelming, and sometimes narrowing down, like if I can't heal anything else, which would never be the case, by the way. Everyone has the ability to heal anything. I believe that. I really do. Now we can go to a lot. Some people might catch things too late, potentially that can happen. However, I think if you're here, you probably have the drive, have the will, have the still a little bit of life force energy in there, and healing is possible always. But having an understanding of like what is maybe first on your list to heal. So, I know what I was saying. So like if we couldn't heal everything, right? Maybe we're at the end of our life and there's only one thing, right? Or maybe you're a parent and it's like, this is the thing. If it takes a little time to heal, this is the thing that I want to heal now. It's good to set that intention with spirit, with yourself. And what I was saying in the last video is that doesn't always mean that's the first thing that heals. There might be some other little things before that where your body's trying to form new pathways and new patterns, right? And so some other things heal that you didn't even expect along the way, but then there's a trajectory for that thing that you set an intention for. And I believe that in my heart, that it matters what we set intentions for. And that it's good to have a handle and a finger on our symptoms, because if we can't do that, that means we aren't really feeling them, and we do have to have a felt sense of the sensations and the things happening in our body to heal it. If we can't feel it and we don't even know it's a thing, it probably won't heal. Again, like I said, there might be some little things while you're on your healing journey that you didn't even expect or intend to heal that could clean themselves up along the way. But we still have to have an awareness that they exist. You know what I mean? Like, otherwise we're missing our healing. And I see this happen a lot, actually, where people will say, nothing's working, nothing's not working. I can't, nothing's happening. And a lot has actually happened, and I will say to my clients sometimes, like, I want to take you back to like 6 months ago, and let's like really think about really where you were, Now, of course, there can be modalities that we try that are not the thing, and so sometimes we have to keep trying. But once we figure out exactly what is working and we have a handle on what it is that we want to heal, I believe that beginning process of healing, it feels slow and it might feel like things aren't happening, but I do think that things are happening. And I think that there is a victim pattern, a little bit of a martyr pattern that can come with early developmental trauma, and that can be a big reason why people don't actually progress, because there's a piece of them that doesn't want to. I hate to say it like that, but it's true. Because they're scared, because they've been sick for so long, and not being sick is unknown, and that feels scary. It's like how we create any kind of pattern. And so that actually can keep people stuck for sure. Anyway, all this to say, this video is to talk about, once we start to heal some of those physical symptoms and we realize things are happening, oh my God, it is so relieving. But here's what's happens, and here's what's a little bit tricky. We might not understand how things are happening in our body. Even though things are happening, we might not totally feel it. That's why I'm saying it's important to have a felt sense, right? So that when things start to happen, we know we're on the right track. That's another great gauge, to tell us that we're doing the right thing. If we can't feel it, we might be doing the right thing and then skip over the healing that's happened and then switch a modality and move on too fast, and then the healing that was happening stops. And, sometimes we just have to be consistent. When it comes to nervous system and trauma healing, like, it's all about consistency, slowly just plugging away at it, for sure. But once some of those big things start to lift, for me, it was those neurological symptoms. And I dumped a ton of toxins in my body when I went on medical medium. And I actually do think that his diet is good for that. I don't think most people do well long-term on a raw vegan diet. There are some that do great. It just depends. I don't judge diets anymore. The bottom line is, no matter how you feel about medical medium, he is helping people. And that's it, right? That's all we need. Some people, that's what they need. Some people have an incredibly high toxic load, and he is very good at getting out heavy metals and getting out toxins and cleaning up people's diets. And a raw vegan diet will clean up your liver and will flush things from your body and will provide your body with incredible hydration and structured water in those juices and smoothies and things that can really, really have an impact on your body. And that did happen for me. And I do think that a lot of my neurological symptoms healed. He's also really big on the supplement B12. For me, with those neurological symptoms, the hand and arm tingling and numbness and all of that I was having, and some of my heart palpitations, not all, but some, healed. Yeah. So the hand and arm tingling and numbness, B12. I was really, really lacking B12. And so I started taking methylcobalamin, B12, and that was incredibly helpful for those symptoms. The missing piece for me was nervous system. So I got to a certain point in my healing, and I didn't progress, and I was still having flares. And that, I sat in that for about a year, where I was like, why am I still having flares? And then I realized my flares were around emotional things. They weren't around a food issue or a food that I ate that I shouldn't have, or they weren't around those things. I wasn't really having cheat foods ever. I don't really dabble in that anymore now even. I don't have as strict of a diet, but I still do an elimination diet. I don't eat gluten, and I eat limited grains, actually. I do eat a little bit of meat, and I eat lots of fruits and vegetables. Anyway, so once some of my neurological symptoms improved, for me, it was about the chronic fatigue. And I was like, how do I heal this chronic fatigue? But the chronic fatigue was coming in flares. And then I realized that my chronic fatigue was connected to the emotional stuff. And then once I realized that, I started going into the trauma healing. So the reason that I'm saying all this stories is that once you get past the physical symptoms, there's some physical symptoms that will heal with diet change. There's some histamine stuff. A lot of people will heal a lot of histamine stuff and some gut stuff with a diet change, okay? the body goes through a bit of a detox phase. When you take out processed foods, let's say someone's going from a standard American diet or McDonald's or whatever and drinking sodas every day. When they stop doing that stuff, the body will detox. It will detox a layer, right? And some symptoms will clear. You might not feel good during that detox stage, but some symptoms will clear. Then you go to the next layer, and it's like, oh, okay, well, a lot of people do paleo. A lot of people do AIP. I did AIP for a while. Some people do that FODMAP. I think is, depending on if there's certain gut bacteria can be helpful. I don't know if it's that much more helpful than like a paleo. Some people go vegan. Some people, right? Then you're going through another layer of detox. When you cut something else out, your body is getting rid of not only toxins, but it's adjusting, right? You're forming new pathways. You're doing things. Things are happening with your digestive system. Things are clearing in your blood, and you're releasing a layer of inflammation, okay? Then, and now, I don't want to say this is like exactly everybody, but this is kind of like how things can go for a lot of people, okay? Some people go straight to the emotional healing stuff, and then they go back and change diet. That's not as common, but I have heard people do that. And they actually hit a roadblock with their emotional healing. It was like opposite for me. But they hit a roadblock with their emotional healing, and they were like, I'm doing all this work. I'm doing all this inner child. I'm doing all this trauma work. I'm doing all this. Now, I don't know if they're doing somatic nervous system works. I find that to be the best, most efficient, most deepest healing that there is for that stuff. But then they didn't progress, and they went back and then did diet change, and then they healed. So for them, it's a little bit opposite. So that can happen, of course. But anyway, so then once some of those physical, so then each layer that you change, right, a physical symptom relieves. It is my experience that lupus, MS, fibromyalgia, Lyme, those that have a lot of chronic fatigue as the main symptom, and pain, all over body pain. Now, someone with rheumatoid arthritis might also have a lot of chronic fatigue. So many people have double diagnosis, triple diagnosis, right? A lot of people might have chronic fatigue syndrome and also have lupus and also have fibromyalgia. They might have like a double diagnosis, but the fatigue, the pain, these sort of more progressed, I'll say more progressed autoimmune cases are deeper. They're deeper in the tissue, right, of the body. They're deeper in the cells and the mitochondria of the body, right? And the reason that they're deeper is usually, I cannot say always, but usually because the root cause happened a long time ago in early childhood. A large portion of the pattern stems from back then. Now, somebody could have a car accident as an adult and say their symptoms started after that, but I would challenge most people that some things didn't start probably before. And also, sometimes people who have a car accident that brings on a certain symptom heal quicker than someone with and maybe don't get a big diagnosis like a lupus or MS or something like that, because they might not have as much of the childhood trauma stuff. But the childhood trauma stuff and the stuff that is deep in our lineage, patterns of dysregulation and dysregulated parenting and disorganized attachment and all these things that exist in our lineage as well, are usually deeper in the body. It makes sense, right? And so that's why a lot of times diet doesn't always work for those things, because it's living in those cells, like I was saying, right? And so that is when the healing has to take on another form, usually, right? The just eating right doesn't always do it. Most of the time doesn't do it for these bigger things. Healing will also probably take like a little bit longer for those people, you know? Again, everyone is so different, y'all. Some people might do a lot of emotional healing work and get to a point in plateau, like what I was saying kind of happened with me with diet change, but the opposite, right? They do the emotional, let's say they do nervous system and trauma work first, but they realize they have like a lot of toxic heavy metals or toxic load in their system, and they need to detox, or say they have parasites. Now, what has happened when they set themselves up with the emotional stuff first, not everybody has to do this, but it can be a beautiful process of release because sorry, somebody's at my door. Because the detox pathways, because the nervous system work has been done, the detox pathways are open and ready to clear, and the nervous system and digestion and everything is really on point because that nervous system piece is on board. And then when they go through a detox protocol and they're grounded and regulated and prepared mentally for a detox protocol, which can be extremely dysregulating, right? So then they go into the detox and it's whoosh, like that, right? And it happens really fast. Yeah. So anyway, I want you guys to just kind of think about all these little different avenues and nuances to healing, and see how it might pertain to your life and how it can be helpful. And, I did want to just make the point that when we are taking on this lifestyle, the healing goes deeper and deeper and deeper. Now I'm healing patterns in my behavior and patterns in my relationships and my friendships and things. And it just is such a beautiful, I guess it's like a beautiful place to be, but the process to me, it's not always easy. I'm still I still have times where I feel very heavy, or I feel very sad, or I go through moments of where I feel really activated and I have a lot of energy I need to release. But we get better at knowing what we need. We get better at knowing how to process through big things. We get better at eating healthy. We get better at our daily detox. We get better at all these things. So things get easier as they get deeper sometimes too. And anyway, all this to say, every single thing you do is making an impact and making a difference on your healing, even if it's small. And sometimes it's better for that to be small, for the pieces to be small each day. That's more healing sometimes than trying to bite too much off, more than we can chew. And then we get overwhelmed and our system goes crazy. That we don't want. Anyway, I hope that you learned something in this video. I will see you next time.